Hi, friends. I'm Becca Werwell, author of the Road Trip Rescue series of faith-filled contemporary adventures for kids ages 8 to 12. And today I'm here to answer some of the most frequent questions I get from readers, which fall into the realm of, how do you do that with one hand? So I was born missing half of my right arm. I was born with a limb difference, so I just have one hand. And Kimmy, the main character in Road Trip Rescue, book 1 in my Road Trip Rescue series, was also born with one hand. So that's something that we share in common. And so when I present at schools and to homeschool organizations and to other groups, that's something we end up talking about because it's different. And not all kids have met someone who was born with one hand before. So it's new. It's fun to talk about how God has uniquely created each of us with gifts and differences that make us who we are and uniquely prepare us for the adventures in our lives. So I love answering these questions. The hard thing is, a lot of these questions are really hard for me to just answer with words when I'm at a school visit. So for example, here's some of the most common questions I get. How do you ride a bike with one hand? How do you push a stroller? How do you drive a car? How do you get dressed? How do you carry a heavy box or other object? How do you cook? How do you type on a computer? So, without actually having a bike or a car or a stroller that I can actually show these things during my author visits, it's really hard to actually answer because I was born with one hand. I learned how to do everything you can do. I just do it with one hand instead of two. So, the way I do things feels very natural to me. I often joke that if I woke up tomorrow and miraculously had a second arm, I wouldn't even know what to do with it. It would just be in my way. So these questions can be hard to answer, which is why today in this video, I'm going to show you how I do these things. So please enjoy the next little clips I've put together for you to show you how I do these things with one arm. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this video has helped answer some of your questions. But of course, if you have more questions about how I do things with one hand, I am always happy to answer your questions. And I also would really recommend reading Road Trip Rescue if you haven't already. Road Trip Rescue is a great book to help you understand and develop empathy for someone with a limb difference. So if you've never met someone who was born with one hand like I was, if you read this story, you can get to know Kimmy and you can see that while she has one hand, it's not her whole story. It's part of who she is. And it's something that a lot of times she doesn't think about, but sometimes she does. And so you can see how that's affected her and how it's impacted her life. So that could be a really fun way to get to know someone with a limb difference if that's not something that you have in your daily life. And friends, if you have more questions, you can connect with me. Your grown-ups can sign up for my email list at beccawerwell.com and they can send me an email with your questions and I'm happy to answer. Thanks so much for listening and never forget that you are wonderfully created.